To buy Madden 22 coins for the 100% cheapest price on the internet with quick delivery, check out my sponsor MMOEXP by clicking the link at the top of the description and use code SWIFT at checkout for 5% off. Salsa's family, and today I'm coming back at you guys with another Madden 22 video on the channel, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the best players to power up in Madden 22. Hey, get him up there.
Stop it. Get some help.
Now, deciding whether or not to power up a card in Madden is definitely a pretty confusing decision, but what I'm going to be doing in the video is giving you guys the criteria you want to look for when you're deciding to power up a card or not, as well as talk about the 10 best players to power up in Madden 22. Now, in my opinion, there's really only two pieces of criteria you really want to look for when you're deciding whether or not to power up a player. So the first thing you want to ensure when you power up a card is you want to make sure they have a lot of long-term value. Now, what I mean by long-term value is you want to make sure the stats on the card are going to be relevant in 2 weeks and in a month, because typically when you power up a card, it's going to cost you a lot of training. That's 100% true. You gotta put in training to get the card up to the maximum, but it's also gonna cost you coins if you gotta buy those intermediary pieces to get the card up to the max. And if you power up a card that doesn't have very good stats and you're gonna probably sell off in like a week or in like 5 days, you're just gonna be losing out on training and losing out on coins. When you power the card down, you only get, I think it is like a third of the training you spent. You're gonna lose out on the tax and the intermediary card. You're gonna lose out on the value as that card goes down as well. So you're gonna want to make sure when you power up a player, criteria number one, do they have good long-term value? Typically the way I figure that out is speed. Speed is kind of the most important thing in Madden, so if a card has high speed, that means their long-term value should be pretty good. As you can see right here, Deion Sanders at 96 speed, that's a lot of long-term value, but if I was to power up a different quarterback who was a little bit slower, there wouldn't be as much long-term value there. Now, the second piece of criteria I want you guys to look for is the card going to be getting future upgrades? If you power up a player and they're going to be getting future upgrades, that's a good decision, because you can simply add in those newer upgrades to the power-up and you're going to be having a really good card who continues to get upgrades and continues to stay relevant. But if you power up a card and they're not going to be getting upgrades throughout the rest of the year, well, then you're going to have to eventually power the card down and lose the training and lose the coins. So kind of like our overall goal is we want to get a player that has good stats and can stay on our team for a while, so good long-term value and future upgrades. Okay, so now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going over the 10 best players to power up in Madden 22. If you get all 10 of these players, you're going to have a good team right now, you're going to have a good team in the future, and you're going to have a good team when these cards get upgrades. Now, player number one, you guys probably guessed it because I kind of teased this a second ago, but Deion Sanders, 94 overall with 93 speed, 94 excel, incredible man, incredible zone, basically incredible stats everywhere, is definitely a good card to power up. Now, we can say with 100% certainty that Deion Sanders is going to be getting another card in Madden, and the stats on this card right now, they're also insane as well. So power up Deion Sanders, that feels like a good decision. And then moving on to player number two right here, we got 94 overall Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek Hill in general. I just think Tyreek Hill is one of the faster receivers in Madden. Whenever he gets a new card, it's always insane, and he does get upgrades relatively often, so 94 Tyreek Hill is definitely a good person to power up because he's going to be on your team for quite a while. And if you made it to this point in the video and you're not yet subscribed, hit that sub button down below, fellas. If you enjoy this content right here, I post a ton of other Madden 22 tips just like this. But moving right along, let's get into player number three right here. Now, player number three is kind of someone that I think a lot of you guys might not have been expecting, and this is 93 Randy Moss. Now, Randy Moss right now, the stats aren't insane. 92 speed, 92 excel. It's nothing too crazy, but we can almost guarantee that Randy's getting a new card relatively soon. I think this card is serviceable right now in Madden, and he's definitely going to be getting a new card in the future, so Randy's a good player to power up. And then again, kind of staying on that 93 overall most feared player theme, we have Lawrence Taylor. Now, this Lawrence Taylor, in my opinion, he's a little bit more relevant than Randy Moss. I think he's actually quite a bit more relevant than Randy. 89 speed, 91 excel, great power move, great finesse move, great block shed. This card's really nice, and we can also guarantee he's getting a new card in the future, so LT is a good player to have powered up and have on your team. Now, those first four players I showed you guys were all relatively predictable, but they're all really good cards. Now, for these remaining 6 players, these are 6 players that you might not have expected, and the first one is 92 overall Ronnie Lott. Now, 92 Ronnie Lott, when he's powered up, he becomes the fastest free safety in Madden with 93 speed and 91 excel to go along with 92 zone coverage and good hit power. Ronnie Lott can really do it all. I'm assuming that with their free safety, they are definitely not going to be playing in man coverage, so 80 man, it's not really the end of the world, but otherwise, Ronnie Lott, he can cover, he can play run defense. Like, what more can you ask for in a safety? He's also definitely going to be getting upgrades in the future, so Ronnie Lott is definitely making this list. And then again, we have another safety right here, but this is 92 Derwin James, and this Derwin James card is ridiculously inexpensive. The power up is relatively pricey, but in my opinion, it's worth it. When you power this card up, he has 94 speed and 93 excel. That's insane. That's a crazy good user. And again, very similar to Ronnie Lott, the stats on the card are like perfect perfect for a safety. I'm not too concerned with like high man coverage. I'd much rather have them have high zone, high hit power, high pursuit, high play rec, which is exactly what Derwin James has. So in my opinion, if you power up Derwin, this is a card that's got great stats now, and I think he should get upgrades in the future. I think the other players I showed you guys are more guaranteed to get upgrades in the future. This is probably the first card that might not get an upgrade for a while, but either way, the stats are so good that he should last on your team for quite a while. Now, next up right here, moving on through this video, we got 92 overall Denzel Ward. Now, this Denzel Ward card, it really reminds me of the Derwin James. 92 Denzel has insane stats right now. 93 speed, 94 excel, over 90s in every single coverage stats, presses at a 91. Just an insane card. But the thing about Denzel, which is kind of similar to Derwin James, is we don't know when he's going to get an upgrade. He should get an upgrade throughout the rest of Madden. He's one of the better corners in the NFL, so we'll definitely get an upgrade. We just don't know when that's going to be. It might not be that soon, but the stats on this card, in my opinion, they make it worth it to power him up. Him and Derwin, although we don't know when they're going to get upgrades in the future, the stats are so good that it's still worth it to power them up. Then next up right here, we have 91 overall Sean Taylor. Now, Sean Taylor is kind of like the opposite of Derwin James and Denzel Ward. The card right here, he's got good stats. Like, they're definitely one of the better stats on a free safety. For some reason, our free safeties in Madden are slower than our strong safeties, so 91 speed and 91 excel is definitely still like relatively top end. But Sean Taylor, this card came out a long time ago, so I would almost guarantee you guys that Sean Taylor should be getting a card in like zero chill. I would be shocked if he doesn't get an upgrade within the next like 3 weeks. So Sean Taylor is kind of like the opposite of Derwin and Denzel. With Derwin and Denzel, they have great stats now, but I don't know when they're going to get an upgrade. But with Sean Taylor, the stats are pretty good. Like, they're not bad. They're definitely pretty solid, but I can almost guarantee you he should be getting an upgrade in the future. So he's kind of like the opposite of Derwin and Denzel, but definitely still a card you want to have powered up and have on your team. And then moving right along right here, we have 92 overall Ed Reed, who when you power him up, you can actually play him at strong safety. As you guys can see, this card, for some reason, he's a right outside linebacker, but when you actually power the card up, he then becomes a strong safety. So Ed Reed, at strong safety, 92 speed, or sorry, 93 speed in the power up, 94 excel. Taking a look at the zone and everything like that, as you guys can see, 92 zone, 92 play rec, nice hit power. This is a really nice strong safety card. But the thing about this card, like I said before, it says he's a right outside linebacker, but you can actually play him at strong safety when you put him in the power up. So Ed Reed is definitely someone to consider. Great stats now, definitely getting an upgrade in the future, and in my opinion, that's a really good card to power up. Then ending this list off right here, we have the best card in Madden, 86 Eddie Jackson. Nah, I'm just trolling. If you know, you know. From Madden 21 back in the day, Eddie Jackson 86. We're just messing him out. You probably don't want to power that card up, but he is under my basement, and he is an absolute legend. So yeah, that's gonna do it for me, boys. Talking about the criteria you want to look for when you're deciding whether or not to power up a player, as well as talking about the best cards to power up. If you guys want, and maybe you're newer to Madden, you watch this video, I could make a video talking about like how to power a player up. If you click this video and you were thinking that's what I was gonna do, I could make something like that in the future. So if you're more of a beginner in Madden, and you're looking for that type of content, I could do something like that. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and until next time, fellas, I'm out. Peace.